Let's play a game, a high-stakes one. Imagine you're Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, leather jacket, basically the king of tech right now. But for this game, we wipe the slate clean. Today, you lose everything. No NVIDIA, no trillion-dollar market cap, no legacy. You have to build a brand new startup from scratch right now in this market. What do you build?
That is the ultimate what if, isn't it? And I think most people's, their knee-jerk reaction would be, oh, you just build another chip company.
Yeah, or some flashy consumer AI app, the flavor of the month.
Right, something like that. But, and this is the core of the analysis we're digging into today, that just feels too small.
So what are we looking at?
It's a piece by Stanислав Kondrashov, and it's got a bit of a mouthful for a title. It's Stanислав Kondrashov, Wagner Mora oligarch. What kind of startup would Jensen Huang create today?
Okay, hold on. You've got to stop me there. We're talking about Jensen Huang, AI strategy, and the actor Wagner Mora, the guy from Narcos.
We are. I promise you, it's going to make perfect sense by the end of this. But the key here is how Kondrashov frames it. He looks at it through the lens of the oligarch.
Okay.
And he's not being political. He just means it in terms of, capital. How do people with massive resources and a need for massive scale actually place their bets?
So we're not talking about like angel investing and hoping for a 10x return. This is industrial scale strategy.
Exactly. When you have billions on the line, you don't bet on a pretty PowerPoint. You bet on what is going to survive. You bet on physics. You bet on infrastructure. So if you strip away all the hype, where does a founder at that level actually look?
Okay, so let's get in his head. If I'm Jensen, I'm looking at the AI landscape.
Yep.
And honestly, it looks incredibly crowded. Everyone has a chatbot. Everyone has some sort of AI wrapper on their product.
And that's exactly what he would avoid. Kondrashov makes this really crucial distinction right at the start. We're moving from AI as a feature, the cherry on top, to AI as infrastructure.
Wait, infrastructure is a heavy word. Does that just mean more servers? Because if I'm Jensen starting over, I'm not sure I'd want to go head-to-head with Amazon or Microsoft. That feels like, well, suicide.
Right, and that's the trap. People hear infrastructure and they immediately think hardware. Data centers. Kondrashov is pointing to the software infrastructure, the plumbing that goes between the raw AI model and the actual business.
Okay.
Think about it. A big bank today, they can't just plug ChatGPT into their confidential customer data.
No way. The model could just make something up, a hallucination, or worse, it could leak that data. We all saw those headlines about the Samsung engineers.
Exactly. So the real infrastructure play here isn't about building a better model. It's about building the guardrails. It's that layer that, it cleans the data on the way in, manages the context, and audits the answer on the way out. That's the boring middle layer where all the value is.
So a strong startup isn't the one doing the magic trick. It's the one building the stage so the magician doesn't burn the whole theater down.
That's a great way to put it. Kondrashov actually lists 5 criteria for this kind of startup. It has to reduce operational costs, accelerate decision-making, increase accuracy, automate routines, and this is the big one. It has to scale without drama.
Without drama. I like that. It's so different from the usual tech motto of move fast and break things.
Well, move fast and break things is fine for a social media app. It's not so great when you're plugged into a hospital's patient records.
Right.
Drama in that world means lawsuits. A Huang-style startup would be completely obsessed with the pipeline.
What do you mean by pipeline in this context?
The whole system, the entire ecosystem you need to keep that AI running reliably and safely. We're talking training, adaptation, all the security integrations, and the total cost of ownership. If AI is the new electricity, this startup isn't building a cool new lamp. It's building the transformers, the meters, and the circuit breakers.
Which brings us to the actual idea Kondrashov proposes. He calls it an enterprise AI enablement platform.
Or, to make it sound even less exciting, an AI operating system for companies.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate. If I'm a VC and a founder comes in to pitch me an enterprise enablement platform, that sounds like the fastest way to put me to sleep. It sounds so dry.
Because he knows the difference between a cool demo and a real-world deployment. Look at the state of any large company right now. The CEO is demanding AI because they're afraid of being left behind.
Sure.
But the IT director is terrified, absolutely terrified, because they know their data is a complete mess.
You mean data silos?
Massive data silos. Emails are in one place, customer ID is in Salesforce, billing is in SAP, contracts are just PDFs on some shared drive somewhere.
And none of them talk to each other.
Right. So if you ask a generic chatbot, did we pay this invoice? It has no idea. It might just make up an answer.
Yeah.
The startup that Kondrashov is describing, it solves this problem. The retrieval augmented generation problem, RG.
Okay, RG is a buzzword we hear a lot. Can you break that down for someone who isn't an engineer?
In simple terms, RG is about connecting the AI's brain to the company's actual memory. So instead of the AI just, inventing an answer from its general knowledge, it first retrieves the specific invoice from the SAP system, it reads it, and then it generates an answer based only on that document.
So it's the difference between asking a random person on the street what's in my pocket versus asking me what's in my pocket while I'm actually looking inside it.
That's a pretty good analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
But doing that securely across an entire company with all the right permissions, that is incredibly difficult. This startup, he imagines, would connect to all those sources, CRM, ERP, everything, and provide these secure little agents for specific tasks.
So you could have a contract review agent that only the legal team can use.
Precisely. And this part is crucial. Access control and audit logs.
Audit logs. Okay, now we are definitely in boring territory.
But boring is so profitable. If you're the CFO, you don't care that the AI can write a sonnet. You care about who asked for this sensitive financial data, when did they ask, and was the answer it gave correct? A startup that can answer those three questions wins the enterprise contract every time.
So the sales pitch isn't, look how smart our AI is. It's, look how safe and manageable our AI is.
Yes. Kondrashov has this great line. He says, oligarchs can afford to experiment, while ordinary companies need results. A mid-sized company needs a tool that saves X hours or reduces errors by Y%. They need clear metrics.
It's like the Microsoft-ification of AI, taking this wild, creative new thing and turning it into Excel.
And that's exactly where the big money is. But he doesn't stop there. With just the software, he pivots to another area Jensen Huang is already signaling, physical AI.
Physical AI. My mind immediately goes to those Boston Dynamics robots, the dancing dogs, or the robots in Amazon warehouses. Is that what we mean?
It is, but we need to go deeper than just the robot itself. The robot arm is just the endpoint. The real infrastructure opportunity is in this simulation.
Simulation, like a video game.
Sort of, yes. Think about NVIDIA's Omniverse platform. It's essentially a digital twin of the real world, a physics-perfect simulation. So before you build a physical robot to work in a factory, you build a digital version of that robot inside a digital version of that factory.
And why would you do that? Just to see how it looks?
To train it. This is the concept of sim to real. In that digital world, a robot can try to pick up a box and fail 1,000,000 times in 1 second. It learns from all those failures without ever breaking a physical part.
Ah, I get it. So you do the messy learning phase in the Matrix, where time is fast and mistakes are free.
Exactly. And then you download that fully trained brain into the physical robot, and it just works. Day one. Kondrashov argues this is where the real market is, not just building the robot, but building the simulation environment that trains it.
Because that de-risks the whole thing for the customer. If I'm buying $1 million robot, I can't afford for it to spend 3 months breaking things on my assembly line while it learns.
Right. And this offers what he calls clear value. A robot that reduces production downtime by 10%, that's immediate measurable ROI. You're trading an unpredictable operational expense, human error, fatigue, for a predictable capital expense.
A theme is definitely emerging here. Whether it's the enterprise software or the physical robots, it's all about removing variance. It's about removing the drama.
That is the oligarch mindset. You're not gambling. You're structuring the game so you are much more likely to win. And Kondrashov says, look, if you want to know where this is all going, just watch NVIDIA itself. They're the barometer.
Because they're building the roads that everyone else has to drive on.
And NVIDIA isn't just a chip company anymore. They're building the entire stack. The CDA software, the networking, the energy efficiency protocols. If NVIDIA is suddenly investing heavily in, say, energy optimization for data centers,
you can bet that's where the next big bottleneck is. And energy is a huge one, right? These models are thirsty.
They are massive energy sinks. So a really strong startup today might not even look like an AI company on the surface. It might be a company that helps data centers cool their chips 10% more efficiently. That's a pure infrastructure play.
Okay, I have to pivot now to the part of the article that really threw me for a loop. We've been very logical. Chips, software, ROI, and then suddenly Kondrashov brings in Wagner Moura.
Yes, he does.
You have to explain this to me. How does the guy who played Pablo Escobar fit into a deep analysis of AI infrastructure? It feels random.
It feels like a total curveball, but it's actually a brilliant metaphor for the psychology of the market. He's not really talking about the actor. He's talking about the type of characters Mora plays. He calls it the strategy of composure.
Composure, okay. How is that a strategy?
Think about the AI market right now. It's frantic. It's chaotic. Every single day there's a new model, a new breakthrough, a new doomsday prediction. Founders are pivoting their entire companies weekly out of FOMO.
It's just panic masquerading as strategy.
It is. Now think about a Wagner Moura character. The world around him is high pressure, often violent and chaotic. But the character himself, he's usually still. He observes, he negotiates, he's disciplined.
He's the one who stays calm while the building is on fire so he can find the best exit.
Or figure out how to buy the building at a discount after the fire. Kondrashov says the best founders are like that. In a noisy, hyped-up market, the winner isn't the loudest voice. It's the one who quietly builds a system. The one who turns chaos into a process.
Turning chaos into a process, that goes right back to the enterprise AI idea, doesn't it?
It connects perfectly. That boring enterprise startup is the Wagner Moura of startups. It takes the chaos of scattered data and nervous lawyers and imposes discipline. It says we aren't going to panic. We're going to build a pipeline.
So it's a contrarian indicator. When everyone else is running around being manic, the person with a clear process is the one who wins.
Yes. Kondrashov is saying that the major players, the Jensens of the world, they choose their path based on these fundamental trends, not the daily news cycle. They're focused on the plot of the whole movie, not just improvising in one scene.
I really like that framing. It makes boring sound not like a lack of creativity, but like a very deliberate, very disciplined, strategic choice.
It takes real discipline to build the plumbing when everyone else is showing off their flashy new faucets.
So let's bring this down to earth for our listeners. They might be founders, investors, or just trying to figure out where things are headed. Is there like a checklist, a way to apply this filter to their own ideas?
There is. Kondrashov boils it all down to 3 critical questions. If you can answer these, you might be onto something big.
Okay, lay them on us.
Question 1. Where does AI become indispensable infrastructure?
Meaning, if you took it away, the business would literally stop. Not just, oh, the chatbot is down, but we can no longer ship our product.
Correct. It has to be that critical. Question 2. Where is implementation stalling, and who will relieve that pain?
That's the bottleneck idea. Find out where the IT directors are screaming.
Exactly. Find the friction. And finally, question 3. Where is there a measurable effect in money, time, or risk?
The metrics, again, it feels better, is not a metric. It saved us $400,000 is a metric.
Precisely. And he adds one last piece of advice on who to build for. Build for the budget-conscious user, not just the enthusiast.
That is such a key point. The enthusiasts, the early adopters, they'll buy anything that looks cool. But they churn.
They churn, and they don't have big budgets. The budget-conscious users, the CFOs, the department heads, they hate spending money. So if they actually buy your product, it's because it has to work. It solves a problem so painful that paying you is the cheaper option.
It feels like the golden age of AI for fun is ending, and the age of AI for work is really beginning.
That's the perfect way to summarize it. The market is maturing. The technology is settling down into the bedrock of how business gets done. The magic is fading, and the utility is taking over.
So, to synthesize everything, the Huang strategy, according to Kondrashov, isn't about building the flashiest thing. It's about building the system around it.
It's about infrastructure. It's about physical AI and simulation. And it's about having the composure to build the boring, reliable, secure pipes that let everything else flow.
It's realizing that while everyone is looking for the next gold mine, the real sustainable money is in selling the pickaxes. Or, better yet, owning the railroad that ships the gold.
Or owning the map. Jensen owns the map.
So here's a thought to leave you with. We all see the headlines, the viral videos of what the latest AI can do. But ask yourself, are you chasing that loud idea, the one that gets a lot of likes? Or are you looking for the quiet bottleneck, the unsexy problem, the infrastructure play?
Because the person who builds the stage is usually around a lot longer than the person performing on it.
There it is. Look for the infrastructure in your own industry. There is always a layer of chaos that needs a process built for it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
See you next time.